you want the crystal to be able to trust you as well. Like you're going to trust it to do what it has to do. So you hold it, and like to hold it in my palm, like you were saying earlier, and just connect with it, close my eyes, and give it a job to do. Like, say I have this amethyst here, like, okay, I really want to work on my psychic abilities.
Hey guys, welcome to our SoulFam Podcast, where I interview space holders from all over the world. I am your host. My name is Karolina, and I am the connection catalyst. I help spiritual entrepreneurs experience deeper connection with themselves, with others, and with the universe. Today on the show, we have Aryelle Alysha, the forest fairy, the eclectic witch, and the spiritual guide. Welcome to the show, Aryelle. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm so good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored to be here.
I am super excited to talk to you because one of the reasons because of what is that you are healing with crystals, and I don't know if you guys that watch on YouTube can see I have so many crystals just behind me, and I love them. I just love their energy, and so I'm just so excited to have you and to talk about them and about all these other beautiful magical things and healing and everything that you do. But I would love to start with your little story to tell us how did you become this eclectic witch and the forest fairy and all these beautiful identities that you have there.
Yes. Okay. So it actually, I'm probably about like a year, almost 2 years into this. So if you're listening, it's never too late to start. So the one thing that really helped, I know that it was a tragedy, but the pandemic really helped me because it helped me, since we were in lockdown, it really helped me get to know myself. And I had to find myself. So I found all these tools like crystals and yoga and Reiki and all these beautiful tools that help me. And really, I am who I am today because of all of that. So.
And for some people it was a tragedy, and for some people not necessarily, because like so many companies actually got more wealthy more than ever, really. And for a lot of people it was a blessing because they actually found their path and they discovered what they really want to do in life, and they stopped their 9 to 5 and they started doing something actually really meaningful to them. So I feel like yes, of course it was a tragedy from one perspective, but also it was a blessing from another perspective. So I feel like there's always a polarity in whatever is happening in our world, right? Even now, the war is like, okay, there is a tragedy happening, but also it brings people together and creates this kind of like oneness vibe. Especially like I'm from Poland, I'm in Poland right now, and here it's so big, like people are connecting so much because they want to help, and there is so much energy of like compassion and love and kindness, and so like obviously it's not maybe the nicest way to bring it up, but I honestly believe that there is a polarity necessary to sometimes bring out the qualities that we need in the world, right? So love, kindness, compassion, and it's just very, very beautiful in one way. But that's so amazing that you started doing it during the times of pandemics, and I think it's the most beautiful time to explore these kind of themes, because you're in lockdown, you have so much time for yourself, so much time to just watch all the YouTube videos about crystals out there, you educate yourself, and it's a great time to do this. And so I would love to talk about crystals because for all the newbies out there, maybe like could you tell us about like why do crystals have this magical power, really, and how do they help us, and also maybe a little bit about how to pick them, because many people are asking like, but how do I know which crystal is for me? How do I discern this from that? And also the fact that not all the crystals are for you, not all of them resonate with you, but they could be at the same crystal, like citrine, for example, or whatever, but one can resonate with you and one doesn't. So why, and what's the difference? And so please tell us, because I'm just super curious about your perspective.
Yes. So crystals, they come from Mama Earth. So they come from the core of the earth, and they're just so magical because they have that energy. They each have their own frequency and energy to them. And I usually tell people how to pick them is which one is calling you. Like you were saying, like there could be one citrine in a bowl that you're attracted to, surrounded by a whole bunch of them, and that was meant for you. So I really love them because they has helped me through so much, and just the feeling their connection and connecting with something. And honestly, when you're holding it and connecting, you're forming a bond with it and you're making it your own. So I love how they all just have different properties to them. And Yeah, I think that's the best way to describe them, because they're so magical in their own sense, just because they have that earth energy to them. And you just really have to be careful of what crystal you choose, because some of them can be, man-made and not authentic. So you really have to be careful in that way. And I can also like share some tips that can help as well. Yeah,
Please.
yeah. Yeah, so when you touch the crystal, it should be cold. It should be really cold. If it doesn't have like any coolness to it, then it might not be authentic. And it also, crystals, some of them scratch glass. So that's another way to tell. I mean, if you want to get like a test piece of glass or something, you could try to test it, or like a mirror or something. But they also scratch glass, and you can tell like if they look too symmetrical, then you know that it's man-made, or not authentic, because each crystal is, I have one here, each crystal is just a different shape. And then that goes into the tumbled stones versus the raw stones. So the raw stones have a lot more energy to them because they weren't polished. The polished ones are good to travel with, or if you're a beginner, because sometimes the rough ones or the raw ones can be too strong for someone. So I usually recommend maybe trying the tumbled stone first, which is just like a really smooth crystal. And they're nice. You can put in your pocket if you're traveling or something like that, just to have them around you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I
Yeah.
have so many of them always when I travel, and then I never can decide which one I need to take, because they are
Yep.
so heavy, but then I want to bring them all, and then it's like,
Yep.
oh, which one do I pick? And I can actually
Yep,
show
me
you
too.
to all of you who are on YouTube right now. I can show you. I have this big ass crystal that has
Ooh.
served me so well. It literally,
Oh,
like,
that's
when I have
beautiful.
my palms, to all of you who just listen, like, it's literally both of my palms can
Hold
it
on
just
to it.
like,
Yes.
yeah,
That's
exactly.
the precious
And
thing
so,
it
but
is.
it's so powerful, and I feel like it's not always about the size of the crystal, it's about the magic
Yes.
that it brings.
Yes.
So the tiny crystal can also bring you so much magic, and it doesn't have to be
Absolutely.
that big, but also big crystals have big power oftentimes. So
Yes.
I think it's both. And I want to add to what you were saying about crystals and how they work, because to me, yes, they were shaped by Mother Earth, but sometimes I like to think about them as, the Masaru Emoto water experiment. How,
Mm-hmm.
the water is like crystallizing, and if you guys haven't heard of it, type Masaru Emoto water in YouTube and you're gonna find it. And it's a water experiment where the researcher was in, how do you say, like, putting water in different conditions, and then
Mm-hmm.
taking pictures of the water crystal after being exposed to these conditions. So, for example, different types of music, different types of emotions, and this water formed different structures based on the music or the emotion, right? So the more
Yes.
harmonic music, like, for example, classical music, or the more
Mm-hmm.
harmonious like emotions, for example, love rather than hate, they were shaping this like crystalline structure, like very harmonious, very like a snowflake, right?
Yes.
And then
Yes.
if you were saying like I hate you to the water, or playing like heavy metal music, it was just disrupted, like distorted. It was not
Mm-hmm.
crystalline, not harmonious at all. And you can see it in the pictures. And I feel like crystals are similar in terms of they have crystalline structures. So that means that they
Yes.
are very harmonious in their structure. That means
Yes.
if you touch it with your energy field and you have some kind of like more distorted energy inside of you, because we are energy, everything is energy, then this crystalline structure is like kind of like pulsing to you and then
Yes.
your body becomes more crystalline, more harmonious, as a way of just taking this, let's say, radiation and electromagnetic field in. So this is how I see it, based on also something that my friend once saw on one of the psychedelic experiences. When she took a selenite crystal, she saw this like structure, that's like beautiful crystalline structure, and then it kind of hit me, this understanding that it's like we can be very harmonious in our energy. And this is, when we open our chakras, when we meditate, when we do inner child work, when we do all these things, it's like it is so that we can make our body more crystalline, and less, this harmonious. Is there a word like this in English?
Yeah.
you know what I mean, though.
Yes, I do. Yes. Yes.
But yeah, this is how I see it. It's like, yeah, there is a structure, and then this energy is then radiated with the kind of structure and with the crystalline vibration. So then you take in this crystalline vibration. So then your body has more harmony essentially, and the energy flow is better through your body thanks to like touching them. Because I found that when I touch a crystal, I have it in my palm or on my neck or whatever it is. It has a little bit stronger effect than if I just place it in the room. It's like, you know, if you're touching a person, then you can feel this person more rather than if you're just in the aura of a person. So this is how I feel it. So do you see it maybe similarly a little bit?
Yes, absolutely. And that's and you know, touching on that, you also have to cleanse the crystal as well, because if you are having like a bad day or something and then you're holding the crystal, it's gonna, you know, feed off of your energy as well. So I like to cleanse my crystals, especially if I'm around a lot of people, or like I was saying, I'm in a bad mood or something and I'm holding the crystal trying to get their energy. So when you're done, you could just I like to smoke cleanse because that's the quickest way. But there's other methods as well. Like you can sit in a bowl of rice overnight, or you can use salt water. But you just have to be careful with the water because some crystals do crumble, like selenite you mentioned. But I like to just do the smoke because it's the easiest and the quickest way. I don't have to worry about anything.
What kind of smoke do you use?
I use either incense, sage, or Palo Santo. All my favorites.
Yes. Absolutely. I am aligned with both of them. I have both sage and Palo Santo, and pretty much that's it for the cleansing the most. And yeah, I've heard that sage is like the most powerful cleanser in a way. I've heard it from many people, but also Palo Santo, I feel like it's really powerful, but it might be endangered though, so I'm not sure if this is the best way to go about it.
I heard that too. Yeah.
So maybe we can have just a little bit of Palo Santo and a little bit more sage to cleanse it. And what about fire, like candles?
I haven't used candles. Like, are you saying to cleanse the crystal with the candle?
Yeah,
I haven't used that. That's interesting.
Yeah, for me, it was one of the most like effective and powerful way to cleanse it, especially not all of them, but you know, quartz, for example, or other crystals, they actually, some of them like fire. So just placing it for a few, maybe not even minutes, like sometimes a minute is enough to just like, you know, do like the whole crystal from each side. And then I felt like it was cleansed, and also like the radiation from it was strong because it kind of takes in the fire. And when you use salt with water, for how long do you feel like you need to place it? And also, how much salt would you add to, let's say, a cup of water, or however else you do it?
So you can add, like, I would do like a Himalayan salt and like maybe like a teaspoon or two. Just kind of gauge it like in between that. And then you can put it in the jar. Or the best thing is honestly taking it to the beach and just doing it that way. And it doesn't have to be for too long. If you really want to soak it, like I was saying, you could soak it in a bowl of rice. You could do it overnight if you want. Or you can just, just have it there for maybe like 10 seconds. Really depends on what you feel. If you feel the energy change in that amount of time, then you know that it's good.
Mm-hmm. And in a bowl of rice?
Yeah, I've heard that. I personally have never tried it, but they say just take a bowl of rice and bury the crystal, leave it overnight. I have never tried it, but people say they do it all the time.
Crazy.
I know. Oh my God,
that's so funny.
Yes. I really like the candle thing that you said, because I love candle magic, and I'm definitely gonna do that.
Yes, I love using candles. All elements really, I feel like, are cleansing through the crystals somehow. Fire, water, ground. You can put it into the ground overnight or something. Then it's gonna charge with all these beautiful ions. So there are a lot of methods, but I feel like let's just like pay attention to what crystal you are cleansing in which way, because not all the crystals like the sunlight, for example. So before you cleanse a crystal, check which kind of crystal you have, and then you can see how to cleanse them, because they are not all the same. And so I'm curious, what do you think about like crystals and minerals actually like having their own soul in a way, like having their own consciousness, because they choose us, right? Or sometimes we say we choose crystals, but they actually really choose us. And it's a funny thing, because I did a psychedelic experience with my mom last year. And she was saying like how the hell I'm gonna tell my friends that the crystal chose me? And I'm like, you cannot really say it to everyone. You cannot explain it. But she was like, this is mine. Like, this is my crystal. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I can feel it too. But she's like, how am I gonna explain it to my friends, you know, to quote unquote normal people that the crystal has chosen someone, right? Because it's like, so crazy. But the crystal has consciousness. It's a mineral, and maybe it doesn't grow like plants, and it doesn't have instinct like animals, and it doesn't have intellect like humans, but it still is, and it is there, and it has energy, and so it has consciousness. And I'm curious to hear your perspective, because I feel like maybe one day I was watching Teal Swan, because she is like my number one spiritual mentor. I'm not sure if you're familiar with her or not, but I talk about her a lot on the podcast. And she was saying about the kingdom of minerals, and how sometimes the crystals don't actually want to be taken away from their original spot, or for example, that some crystals don't like to be placed next to other crystals, and it actually can be very detrimental to you and to them to be next to each other. That's why like my crystals never touch each other, just in case they don't want to be next to each other. And also what I found is that sometimes when I place them like in a row, some of them actually like move, and I can see it after a few days that they actually like change that place a little bit, like as if the electromagnetic field in them, like it's a slight change, but I can see it, right? It's maybe a few millimeters, but I can see it because I placed it very like in a row, very, you know, in a line, and then I can see it's out of the line. I'm like, what the hell just happened here? Apparently they don't like each other, they repel, you know. So I'm really curious to know your perspective. Do you feel like it's true that, you know, they have kind of like consciousness and, let's say, maybe preference even, whether they want to or don't want to like be placed somewhere or be worn by someone or anything like that?
Yes, I 100% agree with that, because it can change your whole frequency just by holding one, and that's how, you know, just building like that special connection with it. That's how you like create that bond with that crystal. And yeah, I've heard. I personally, I do the same. I separate my crystals just in case, but I have heard that does happen. And that's really interesting that you say that it shifted in a way that, like, you know, that just proves that it's alive. Like it all has, like, you know, it has that energy that it just shifted when you had in a specific line. That's very interesting. But yeah, if you have certain crystals together, they can like counteract each other. And for me, I had on a specific necklace and I kept trying to wear it, but it kept falling off me. So I was like, okay, that's a sign that we just don't connect. So I had to let it go. But if you just notice little things, like if you keep getting a crystal and it keeps running away from you, maybe it's not meant for you to have that, or maybe the properties that you were looking for in that specific crystal has already manifested and already happened for you. So, or it is on its way. So that's why it just keeps rolling away from you, or, you know, disappearing.
Yeah, that's exactly the point. Like so many crystals have disappeared. Like, or one crystal just broke in half, and I lost one half. That was actually, it wasn't half. It was like 3/4 of it, and then I'm just left with like 1/4 of it, and it just disappeared. I'm like, it's impossible that it has disappeared. Like, I wanted to give it to my stepfather, but then it disappeared, and it's like, okay, it needs to serve someone else. It just chose to be somewhere else, and it's like, what the hell? It just proves that they have consciousness, but how the hell does it happen? Like, they literally disappear.
Yes.
And it's
the other
crazy.
Day I was remembering I got a crystal and I like completely forgot about it. And then I was like, wait, where is that one crystal? And I could not find it at all. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I wasn't meant to have that.
Right? And sometimes it's so crazy how we find them as well. Like, once I was having a massage literally in the middle of the garden in Costa Rica, like among the trees and jungle and everything, in a little hut. I had a massage, and when I walked out of the hut towards the jungle, I just saw a quartz crystal just chilling there and like waiting for me and just like choosing me. And the lady, the masseuse, was like, I don't know this crystal, like I don't know what the hell it is doing here, but apparently if you found it, then maybe you need the medicine and maybe it is for you, it's chosen you somehow. And I'm like, it is such a random place to find the crystal, like on the ground in the jungle, you know, just what the hell. But it is choosing us. But it's such an interesting topic, because then, like, you know, I know for me it's like very interesting to think of where is this boundary of how they, like, how conscious they are, you know, how conscious crystals are. Like, because for what I found, that from my observation, it's like, if I thank the crystal for its work on me, like I place a crystal, let's say on my heart chakra or whatever, and then I'm grateful for this to like giving me healing, I kind of feel like it gives me more healing. Like I feel like it actually responds to my gratitude. So that brings a question like, how conscious are crystals, and what do you think about that?
Yes, no, I agree, because you want to be thankful for all of its power and healing that it's offering for you, instead of like just saying, okay, work, you're going to do this, you're going to do this. And you want to be grateful, because, you know, grateful and love is like the highest frequency. So you being grateful, it appreciates that. So it just works with your energy more and tries to connect with you deeper. So yeah, just giving that thanks, and also not like depending all on the crystal. Like, okay, I want to manifest money. Here I have I have pyrite. For everyone watching, this is what pyrite looks like. I have pyrite. I'm just gonna hold this crystal and I'm gonna say, you know what, money's gonna come to me, and that's it. You have to also do the work. The crystal can assist as much as it can, but if you just rely solely on the crystal, it's not going to work. You have to also do the work.
Yeah. Yes, I agree, because it's the same with like belief work, you know. If you create a potential, because I work with beliefs with people using the method called Psych K, and it's like opening the potential in your subconscious mind of this belief being true for you. But if you don't go and take action, and you don't bring this whole potentiality into your life, you don't manifest these changes because you don't do anything about it, right? So it doesn't have to be massive action, but it has to be aligned action, I believe. And so on this note of crystals and how they work, I'm curious to know what you think. It's like, can you program a crystal in terms of, can you have an intention, okay, please work like this or that, both in terms of the qualities that you want to bring out of a crystal, and if, for example, at some point the crystal is going to be too quote unquote dirty, and if you can program it in a way that it only gives you still the positive energy and the good stuff.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, that's why that connection, holding it and connecting with it is so important, because you want the crystal to be able to trust you as well. Like, you're going to trust it to do what it has to do. So you hold it, and I like to hold it in my palm, like you were saying earlier, and just connect with it, close my eyes, and give it a job to do. Like, say I have this amethyst here, like, okay, I really want to work on my psychic abilities, and just connecting, and also using that manifestation mindset. I like to use imagination in my head, and just imagining what that looks like for me. Okay, like, what do my psychic abilities look like, and what do I want this crystal to do? Just using in that meditative state, and really holding on to that, and knowing that it's there, and that's what it's going to do, and that's it. And you have that job, and every time you see it and think about it, it's like, okay, this crystal's going to help me work on my psychic abilities. So that really helps with also the visualization in your mind, connecting with your third eye chakra.
That's really amazing. And so I have so many questions in my mind as you're speaking, because, you know, if I have a crystal expert here, I really want to talk about everything. But one question that has come to me is like, if you work with clients, do you have a set of crystals every time for a client, or you have like so many different crystals, and then the crystals choose themselves, like if they want to work on this client or not? Like, is it like a matter of intuition, or is there like a set that will work pretty much for everyone, or almost for everyone?
Yeah, so I work with a set, and I make sure to cleanse all of them, but sometimes like I have a set just for all the chakras that I lay on them. So if so say the amethyst is really good for your third eye chakra. If the amethyst wants to go to the solar plexus, which is like above your navel, then I'll place it there instead. And that it is all about intuition, because even where I place the crystal, like, it could be on your third eye, or it could be on like your crown, but where on the crown? It could be like, you know, the top of the head, or it could be laying on the side, which side. So it really depends on the certain client that I'm seeing, and what the crystal wants to do, and, you know, what the divine, the universe wants me to do as well.
Of course, the divine flow, whatever the divine flow wants. Always, you know. And now I had the saying, always blame it on the moon, but now I can actually always blame it on the divine. Just blame it on the divine. Just blame it on the divine power, because there is all there is. So if something goes wrong, just blame it on the divine, and know that we are all one. So it's actually the divine's fault.
That's how it was supposed to be. And that's what it is.
Oh yeah, just funny. Just, you know, the universe don't get offended. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So I have another question. So do you have some kind of like stories of how crystals have helped some people, or you personally, to give like a little example? Because some people can be like, you know, like my friends at the beginning of my spiritual journey were like, are you seriously giving me a rock? Like, what am I supposed to do? It is like, are you seriously giving me a rock as a gift? Like, well, why? Like, this is so stupid, you know? And then they have had some experiences. They connected to the crystal. Like, oh my God! And now they are now in crystal shop. They are spending all the money, and you know, it's just so funny how you can transform. Like, why are you giving me a rock? What the hell? To like, oh my God! And this crystal, and this crystal, and
Yes, that's exactly how it works. It's so funny. And then you get them into that whole world and they're just like, what did you do? Why did you do this to me? Yes.
So can you share some stories of how specific crystals have helped some specific people, you know, for specific things?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll start with myself. So rose quartz, which looks like this, is a pink crystal. I'm sure everybody knows about this crystal. It's like a really popular one. Rose quartz has helped me so much deal with my actual shadow and my trauma work. And it's just been really powerful in helping me open my heart a little bit more to that and be gentle with myself. And what I like to do is I like to place it on my actual heart. And sometimes I like to pair it with the clear quartz crystal, because clear quartz really amplifies any crystal that you have. So that has really been helping me dive deep into not why it happened, but kind of exploring how it happened, and kind of more feeling into that instead of blaming myself. So that has kind of been transmuting it to that love aspect rather than that victim mentality. So rose quartz is really good for healing if anybody is looking for that. So that's my personal experience. And I also used to work at a crystal shop. That's how I got into it, which is amazing because I got all these crystals out of it. So I had this one client that I'll never forget. We just got these crystals in, and it's called a patch of tears. It looks like this. This is actually a black obsidian, if anybody can see this. But a patch of tears, that's what it's called, and it's really good for grief. And I had someone that came in, and you know, you could feel other people's energy, especially in an environment like that. And she was just so down, and she was like, do you have any crystals that would help? And then I showed her that, and she automatically just started crying as soon as she held it. And it was so beautiful to experience that with her, for her to be able to trust me that much, that, you know, to show her the crystal, and that the crystal did its job, and she just automatically bought it after that. And she came back and she even told me, she said, thank you so much. Like, I needed that. And now every time she holds it, she just remembers, you know, that person that she's lost. So I think that's beautiful. I also do give her a rose quartz too, so she can help with the healing. But it's just amazing just to see the shift in people when they come in and they're so nervous and lost. When I worked in the store, and they come in and they're asking for my help, and it's like, wow, you're trusting me to help you on your journey. And I just get so many people that just open up to me about it. And that's honestly what got me more into the healing aspect, just to be that beacon of light for people, to have them confine into me with their own personal things. And, you know, me just being a listening ear, not even sometimes talking, is just really beautiful and healing for me as well, because it helps me work on my listening skills.
Yes, that's so beautiful. And we always learn through someone else's story, and we always heal through healing someone else as well. So, you know, we're all one, and let's come back to this, you know, theme. We're all one. So if we heal someone, we heal ourselves, and that's very, very beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I feel like for me, crystals have helped me so much on my journey, and I feel like I'm really feeling them when I touch them. Like, their energy is just so powerful. And I would love to talk about actually the quartz, because I know that the quartz is such a unique crystal, because you can program it in many different ways. So can you tell us more specifically about quartz? Because I think it's the most common, and it's also quite cheap relatively. I feel like everyone can afford it, and it's so amazing because it can do so many things for you, right? So could you tell us a little bit about this?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have my quartz here. It's like I like to hold it like this. It's right nice in my hand. I really love clear quartz because if you catch it at the right angle in the light, you could see some rainbows in there, and it's just like a little reminder of how magical it is. But like you were saying, it can do so many different type of things. Like I was saying earlier, if you want to enhance another crystal. So if you want to hold the clear quartz and the amethyst in your hands, you can do that. You can also like put it in your water. I like to make moon water, which is just placing water outside with the full or the new moon. And I like to place that in there, set any intention with that. You can use it if you need some clarity. You can use it. Honestly, it's like the blanket state. Like you can use it for anything at all. So if you are looking for love and you really want a rose quartz crystal, but at the moment you can't really afford it, you could just take the clear quartz and just say, I really want to have this help me with self-love. And that's exactly what it will do. Just like I was saying before, give it a job, and that's what it'll do.
Amazing. That sounds really great. So do you have to give it a job every time, or like do you program it for one job and then you just use it for this one, or every time you can use it differently, or how does it work?
So I like to use a specific crystal for that specific job. And then if that is done, then I'll program it to do something else by like, cleansing it with the smoke. But if you feel like it's changed, just connect with it and see how that feels. See how it feels for you, because you gave it a job to do. I like to ask it, because like we were saying, it does have consciousness. I'm saying like, is it okay if I just, I guess asking, but being stern, does that make sense? Not saying like, is it okay, but just saying, okay, thank you, having that gratitude. Thank you so much for helping me with this, but I want to change my intention around what you're going to do. How do you feel about that? I feel like that's better, because if you're saying, is it okay, then I feel like you're relying on the crystal. So being stern and saying like, hey, we're a team, but I'm telling you to do this. How do you feel about that?
That sounds great. And I feel like for me, the quartz was usually to take out the negative energy out of me, just because I felt this kind of cleansing effect on me specifically. And even on some of the psychedelics experiences, I could see with my eyes that when I place it on my hand, it actually takes out the dirty energy in a way, like the dark energy from me. So I really love to use it in this way, because it can really cleanse us. But also I'm curious about another one that is selenite, because I've heard that you don't even have to cleanse this crystal, and it actually cleanses other crystals. Why?
Yes. It has the ability to cleanse all the rest of the crystals. I did want to add one more thing about the clear quartz thing. Is what I like to do is I like to stare into it as well, because you're using your eyes to look into it, and that's another form of meditation since it's so clear. And you touched on releasing the negative energy. You can also program it to protect you as well. So I just wanted to add those two things because I forgot.
Amazing.
Yeah. So selenite, I'm not too sure about the scientific parts of it, but I do know that it does, it charges other crystals. So if you feel like your crystal is not as cold as it was when you first got it, you can lay it right onto the selenite, just making sure that it touches. So the selenite can just be like, hey, it's time to do your job, wake up, and just give it that little energy, right, that it needs. And I like to use a wand. Actually, I have it, but it's basically like this big, and I just hold it. I hold it onto myself, or I just use it. Yes, I'm pretty sure you have one too. Yes, I love it so much. So beautiful. And
it's like
up and down.
Yeah, let's describe it for people who are listening. It's like a very
like flat.
It's like almost like silver, because it has like kind of like silvery, shiny, and it's very straight. It has like straight crystalline structure. But that's a selenite.
Yeah, and it's like cloudy, but it still has like that iridescent when it hits the sun. So it's so beautiful. I like to use that at the end of the day just to cleanse myself. Even with my clients, I go around them and I have them hold it too, because it has that cleansing aspect of it, which I love.
Yes, I love it as well. And I feel like selenite sometimes can be even too much for some people, because it's so powerful and it's like so high vibe. I feel it's almost like angelic. I kind of associate it with the angelic energy, because it's so just when you see it, you kind of like, it looks like an angel's out of crystals, in the family of crystals, this will be an angel, I would say.
Yes. You could even put them in each four corners of your room to make it a little more like cleansing and spiritual, like a safe space for you. So you don't have to get a big one. You can even just put like a little one in each four corners of the room.
That's a great way to do this, right? To have crystals in your place and place them in different rooms. And for example, when you need some motivation and, you know, some maybe creativity, then you can place the crystals for solar plexus and for the throat chakra in one room where you work, for example. And then you can place the calming, grounding crystals where you sleep, or, you know, protection. And it's so cool how you can really, and maybe you can place some creative crystals to your kitchen to always know, you know, have some creative ways of cooking or whatever. You can really play with it, and it's just so cool that we can use tools like crystals. And it's only, you know, it's one of the levels, let's say, of consciousness that we can use, because obviously crystals is like one level of consciousness, and then we can use plants, that is like another level of consciousness, and then we can use other things, other tools. But crystals is actually so simple and also so powerful in its use, because it's like you can wear it, right? You can have the bracelet, you can you know, place it in your house, and it already works. And so I would love to touch upon one last topic, that is crystal grids, because I love crystal grids, and that's why I have so many crystals, to be able to create grids. And so I have a question, like, do you feel like there needs to be some kind of specific structure to the crystal grid, or do you feel like it's a very intuitive process where you just place them in some kind of shape and you can really feel that this works? And also, like, does it help a lot to have some kind of sacred geometry, let's say paper or whatever else beneath it, to enhance the grid?
I believe them both, and I like the intuitive aspect, because sometimes I will do just a heart, like I'll shape all the crystals in a heart and I'll place it somewhere where I feel like I need more love, and now I'm reminded every time I see that heart that the crystals are working together, that it's going to help me with that. But I also like the sacred geometry side of it. I'm still a little bit new to crystal grids, to be honest, but I do have one that I found that's like the seed of light, which I love. And I just place it, I'm trying to work on more communication. So I've placed all my blue crystals into this seed of light. And I definitely feel it working, because it's in that specific geometry of it. And it's going to connect with that on its own frequency, because, you know, sacred geometry is like a whole nother topic, but that it works with that. So it's just enhancing it in that type of way.
Amazing. Yeah, I also believe in intuition massively. So even if you don't have any understanding about how it works, you can just really feel, and you can even ask the crystal where it needs to be placed for it to work if you have a specific intention, right? The crystals can hear you and feel you. It sounds crazy, but it is true. And when you experience it, you're like, oh my God. You're like all my friends who were laughing about me giving them rocks as gifts, you know, and now they're all about it. Now they give me rocks as gifts.
Oh, I love it. That even exchange.
Yes, absolutely. So but yeah, it's been a wonderful conversation. I'm so excited that we were enabled to talk about this topic, because I love crystals. Like, I have them everywhere, and I give them to everyone. And I'm not like a super expert. I just, you know, based on my own experiences, I could feel some things coming up. But I just really love this theme, and I just love crystals. Like, their energy is just like so amazing. I can really feel like they are here to heal, they are here to help, and they are like serving us so much. So I'm just super excited that I was able to talk to you about this, and super grateful for your energy and everything that you brought to us and to our podcast. Thank you so much.
Yes, of course. I would love to share for beginners 5 crystals that I usually like to tell everybody. So I just wanted to share that before we end this conversation. So we did mention a few, which we talked about. Clear quartz. That one's really good for clarity. And like we were saying, you can program it literally to do anything. Rose quartz is really good for love, self-love. And this is not really about like passion. This is more about self-love and universal love. Another one is amethyst, which everyone probably knows about, which is really beautiful. This is also very protecting against psychic attack. And it's really good to connect with your intuition, your third eye chakra. Then we have obsidian, which I did show, that looks like the patch of tears that I mentioned, but this is obsidian, really good for protection, and it helps relieve all of that negative energy, which is beautiful on its own, because sometimes I'll hold them just like, get rid of my energy, please. Get rid of all of those bad vibes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. I have, I mentioned 4, so I have one more that I like to talk about, and we've talked about it, citrine. So that's going to help you with that prosperity, that happiness. It's a beautiful yellow color. I don't have one in front of me, but it's a beautiful yellow color, and it just looks like happiness. Yes, yes.
Do I have citrine? I'm not sure, but it will be similar to this one.
Yes.
Just work on watch. But it's pretty much everywhere. In almost all crystal shops you can find citrine, because it's so common, and it works for solar plexus chakra, so it empowers you, it motivates you, it brings abundance, and it's really, really beautiful and powerful. I love it.
Me too, one of my favorites. Yes, I wanted to share, so just in case someone gets a little overwhelmed, because I know when you walk into a shop there's so many crystals, so many things, and sometimes you don't want to talk to someone, or you don't want to ask anyone. Sometimes the things online didn't resonate with you. So those are 5 I like to recommend to people that are beginners.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for that. I feel like this was very valuable for beginners, especially. And I really recommend quartz, just clear quartz, just 100%. Simply, you know, if you just want to choose one, my personal favorite would be just quartz, because it's just so like all-encompassing. You can do anything with it. But if you want to have more fun, add some amethyst, add some citrine, add some obsidian, and then you can have more and more fun with that. But it's amazing. Thank you so much. It's beautiful. So last little question. If people would like to connect with you, find you, have a healing with you, what is the best way to contact you?
Yes, so I have my website, which is AryelleAlysha.com, or you can follow me on Instagram, which is also Aryelle Alysha, and that's just XO at the end.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. This conversation was amazing. I really loved it.
So honored. Of course. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm so grateful for you, and I'm grateful for everyone that listened to us talk for this long. I appreciate it.